The badge says Porsche, but is it a real Porsche? We'll find out this week on Motoring 97. Okay, so what do I mean, is this a real Porsche? Well, you know, since its introduction in the early 60s, the 911 has spelled Porsche. But there have been a lot of spin-offs. I like to call them 911 wannabes, like the 914, the 928, the 968, and so on. All good cars in their own right, but in the end, Porsche enthusiasts weren't turned on, and the cars didn't attract a lot of new customers into the showroom. Well, of course, Porsche doesn't want to just become a one-car family. So as we've discovered, what they've done is gone back into their past to create this brand new Boxster, a car that they firmly believe will lead them into the future. Before we look at the future, let's check out the past. The 1955 Porsche 550 Spider, the obvious inspiration for the Boxster, the first all-new Porsche in almost 20 years.
What makes this one different? This one is our heritage. It's our heritage personified. It goes back to the 550 Spider of the mid-50s, which was a mid-engine car. I think the engine behind the driver is part of the key. 911, engine behind the driver. Boxster, engine behind the driver. I think that's part of it. And it encapsulates what Porsche is. It's our history. If the 550 Spider were built today, I think it would look a whole lot like a Boxster. I don't want to give your audience the feeling that this is a retro car. It really is not a retro car. This is an absolutely modern 1997 sports car. Everything about it is modern. It just took its styling cues and its concept cues from the past.
Porsche invited journalists to drive the Boxster at the Phoenix International Speedway to experience a 2.5-liter 6-cylinder water-cooled Boxster engine, which pumps out 200 horsepower at 6,000 RPM. Cars were equipped with a 5-speed as well as Tiptronic gearbox.
We're just going to go out and we're going to show you what it's like. We want to make sure that you've got the throttle modulator.
Along with Canada's Pierre Savoy and Rick By, Hurley Haywood, the world's #1 endurance driver, was on hand to help journalists get the most out of the new Porsche.
And have a good time. I was worried that the car was just going to be kind of an imitation, some kind of a cheap version of Porsche, but as soon as I saw the final form of the car and was able to drive it, all of those worries were finished. I mean, everybody asks that, is this really a Porsche? The journalists ask it, everybody says, is this really a Porsche? And I can say with absolute faith that this is a Porsche in every sense of the word, in every design element of this car, in the drivability of this car, in the feeling. I have no reservations of saying that this is a Porsche from the ground up.
This car from the inception has been a Porsche. It has a horizontally opposed flat 6-cylinder engine. It's as they've had it from the beginning of time, and the 911s have had that basic engine design since 1963, and they've just worked on it and built on it and refined it. This kind of a program today is showing that the car has got excellent balance. We've got exercises set up where we're doing actually very high-speed braking going into corners, and you know, everybody tells us you can't do that with a rear-engine car. This thing is incredibly well behaved. We're on and off the gas in corners, which people throughout time have said you can't do with a rear-engine Porsche.
Porsche wants your feedback too. What are you telling them?
I think they've hit the nail on the head.
Hey, the car is really, really permissive.
Right.
Or it's a better idea not to try that.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, because the car will react too suddenly, and it's very difficult to catch it.
Yeah.
No, I don't think the Boxster should be compared to the 911 at all. It's not the same kind of car. Actually, the Boxster brings Porsche back to its origins. They were doing mid-engine cars in the 1930s for Auto Union. The first real sports car that they produced was the 550 Speedster, and it was a mid-engine car. I think that the Boxster is a very, very performant car. It's a fun car. It's a car that has the level of performance that is required from an enthusiast standpoint, but at the same time, it could be driven by someone who does not know too much about driving, and that person will still be able to drive it well. So there's no excuses to make for having a Boxster in your driveway. It's a new car, and I think that it's a car that is going to do very, very well for Porsche.